Welcome to Tuesday's edition of Big Blue Kickoff Live here on Giants.com. I'm Paul Dottino. He is Super Bowl champion Howard Cross. We're so glad you could join us for the next hour at our new time, at least for the time being, of 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. The scheduling change due to the Giants' scheduling change, because now the players have reported to training camp. The conditioning drills already have taken place this morning, and the players will hit the practice field for the first time this summer tomorrow here in East Rutherford. Once again, our phone number is 201-939-4513. You can also find us on Twitter at #GiantsChat. And as a reminder, you can find an archive of this show and our entire podcast network on the Giants mobile app, podcast platforms everywhere, and at Giants.com/podcast. We're in our new surroundings. We just unveiled them yesterday. And I believe, actually the timing was yesterday, the new surroundings unveiled today, right, Pearson? Today is the first time you guys get a chance to actually see what we have done to the new set. Pearson had a lot to do with it. I saw him on his hands and knees trying to clean up all of the different things that they had to deal with during the construction.
Hide the cables.
In any event, the good news is this is still a caller-centric show at 201-939-4513. And today is a big day in Giants land, so I want to get to as many calls as we can in this hour because I'm sure you have a lot to react to, but I will start with getting Howard Cross's reaction. The Giants have made a number of transactions today, Howard. Let me run through them quickly. Saquon Barkley signs a one-year contract. They get the tag out of the way, and he signs a one-year deal and has already reported to the team. Outside linebacker, pass rusher Sean Bauer, a free agent who was with Minnesota in 2021 amongst a couple of other teams. He worked under Andre Patterson, the Giants defensive line coach, when he was with the Vikings. He has also come into the fold with the Giants today. Outside linebacker, edge rusher Ellerson Smith, often injured, has been waived injured. So there's no more waiting on him to actually come to the forefront. Okay. His clock has run out. He is gone. They also waived safety Trenton Thompson, who was a undrafted rookie free agent acquisition last year out of San Diego State. He is now also no longer a Giant. Those moves made today, but obviously, Howard, the one that everyone's going to want to talk about is the fact that Saquon Barkley is signed, sealed, and delivered.
Yeah, everybody, I've been dodging those questions all week for the last month, and so what are they going to do? But, okay, explain something to me. So I thought when you got the franchise tag, that was it. You're getting the franchise tag. He actually signed an actual contract.
Correct. One-year deal. Once you pass the deadline to sign the multi-year contract, you now either have to sign the franchise tag,
okay,
or you can sign a different one-year deal. But the limitation is that it can only be a one-year deal. And that's what the Giants have done. They've given him a one-year deal to substitute for the franchise tag.
So let me ask you this then. So, like, if the number, let's say the number is $10 million, can I sign for like $15 million? They can sign me for 1 year, $15 million?
You could.
I didn't know that. I thought that.
It is a loophole in the rule that allows you to get more than the franchise tag money. Now, we're not holding any secrets back here, folks. It was a $10.1 million one-year franchise tag.
When all this came into be, I was like playing then. That's when it started. So I'm like, I didn't know that.
That's okay.
Wait a minute. I missed some money somewhere.
Well, I will tell you, that the last time a team executed a one-year contract to avert the franchise tag was in 2005. When the Indianapolis Colts signed running back Edgerrin James to a new one-year contract and avoided the tag. 2005.
Okay.
Howard, that's almost 20 years ago.
That's a long time ago.
It doesn't happen. That's why people don't talk about it, because it's kind of a loophole in the rules, and it's just not commonly used. So it was always an option, but I don't think anybody thought that would come into play here. They simply thought that at some point in time, Saquon will probably take the tag.
That's funny. And you can only sign up for that 1 year, though. You can't do 2
Correct.
years. Oh, well, that works. That works well then.
So Saquon Barkley gets a little bit more than what the $10.1 million franchise tag would be, at least according to the published reports. And the Giants get to have the guy here.
Yeah, and a lot of money is tied to incentives as well, right?
There's bonus money involved, plus incentive money involved.
Incentives is what I'm thinking.
And so you folks out there have a complete understanding of this. The Giants already used up tag number 1 on Barkley. That they don't get back. So if they want to tag Barkley after this season, they have to use their second tag on him.
Okay.
Which does incur extra value, and I believe next year it would be approximated at $13 million for 1 year if they want to use tag number 2. So they have already burned the usage of the first tag by making this agreement.
Okay, so now I'm up to speed. Okay, that's pretty much a lot of information that I didn't know. I was just thinking that the tag was the tag, and you got it, and then if you don't sign it, then there's an argument, but you eventually have to sign if you want to get paid. But now I'm finding out that you could get paid over the tag amount. So that's interesting. Good.
Again, almost 20 years since someone executed this loophole. So it's not wrong for you to assume that that's the way business is done because nobody had been using it.
That's true.
And the Giants, and credit to Barkley's folks and GM Joe Shane to say, hey, you know what can we do to kind of get you in here now? And what can Barkley's people do to get him here now? And they found a way.
That's true. And they found a way to make sure that, everything's like, okay, and you can make more the better you do. So that helps a lot too.
So that's the deal. Saquon Barkley is a New York Giant. And both he and Daniel Jones, who entered this offseason without contracts, are both signed and sealed and will be in the Giants' backfield week 1 against the Dallas Cowboys. And folks, that's not a surprise. Any of us who understood the logic behind what was going to happen told you this was going to happen a long time ago. What we didn't know were the twists and turns that the story would take.
No, we didn't know.
Until we got to Grandma's house.
Well, I always say,
but we finally got to Grandma's house.
Yeah, I always say, like, look, if you have a contract and if that's what you're going to make, that's what you're going to make, go get your money because you don't know how long that your body's going to take, hold up. So go get your money as soon as you possibly can and get out of it.
Folks, remember the Giants Huddle podcast features long-form interviews with Giants players, coaches, and front office folks. You can hear all of the analysis as you talk about Big Blue and listen to all the information, just like Howard did a moment ago, about what's going on with the team. Remember, you can search for the Giants Huddle and subscribe on your favorite podcast platforms or go to giants.com/podcasts. Don't forget, if you're on Apple Podcasts, leave a positive review. That will help our ratings and help keep the program alive. Giants single tickets are available on sale now. Don't miss the Giants this year at MetLife Stadium. Visit giants.com/tickets to secure your seat. And season memberships are always available as well. Keep your Giants fandom active all year long. They are available through the upcoming season. To learn more about exclusive member benefits, visit giants.com/tickets. Limited inventory is available. Our phone number is 201-939-4513. And again, in addition to all the pods, don't forget Giants TV is our streaming app. It brings you all kinds of video content, game highlights on demand, and all kinds of great stuff direct to Big Blue fans. It's free on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and the Giants mobile app. One more time, 201-939-4513. I've gotten all the announcements out of the way, Howard. Would you like to read these sometime?
No.
You see, I go through them very quickly. I try to speed read through them, and I also try to edit them on the fly because they would take a half hour if we actually went through them all in their entirety. But we are now done. 201-939-4513. The rest of the show is yours, folks. Give us a phone call. Who is up on line number 1, Pearson? Let's get a look. That would be...
That's hilarious.
Tom in Stratford. You are first on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Happy Tuesday, gentlemen.
Indeed it is.
Yeah, it is. I'm just very excited that Saquon signed.
Do you like our set, by the way?
Pardon?
Do you like our set? You like that NY back there? How's it look?
Let him talk about his thing.
It does look. I do like that. You're both in the same picture. I don't like that side-by-side thing.
My goodness.
Anyway,
it makes me feel like I'm too close to him.
I'm glad Saquon got what he was looking for. I'm very happy for him. I'm very happy for the Giant fans, and I I think Wellington Mara had something to do with this too. Perhaps maybe he stepped in and said, let's throw some more money his way. And
if he did, he was haunting somebody. I don't know who was it. Who was he haunting? God bless Wellington, but he passed away. You mean John?
I mean, yeah, you're right,
Okay.
John. Sorry, John. Yeah, the current. Sorry.
It's
My
okay.
man,
But,
ultimately, when both sides want it to work out, they'll find a way to work it out. Barkley wanted to be here. The team wanted him here.
Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
We're both winners. So that's all I have. Thanks for the show. I love it. And keep it going. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much. We go to line 2. Tim from Charleston. You're next on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Hey, Paul. Howard, good to talk to you again. Like the other gentleman said, happy day.
Hi.
I just got a couple of quick comments on the Barkley thing, and then a question for you. Something you might have an answer to, Paul. Is first of all, thank God I don't have to listen to all my non-Giants fan friends down here every time they see me. What are you guys going to do without Saquon this year? And I have to explain to every one of them about the franchise tag and et cetera, and salary cap. It's just
You know what you do? Just tell them the soap opera is over. That's it. It's over.
And I don't know if you touched on this, Paul, in the couple of minutes while I was calling in and I wasn't able to listen. But the one thing I just want to lay out up front is obviously the Giants are still heavily up against the cap because the way they structured the 3-part bonus, the $900,000 or so, is that all those incentives had to be slightly higher than what he actually did last year. Because if any of those incentives were at or below the levels of last year, they would count toward this year's cap. And
right.
Obviously, that was a necessary and strategic move. So I just wanted to say that so that, I don't know how many people know about that. I learned it from you guys, so I may as well reiterate. And then my question
Before you go on, let's make something very
ahead.
clear. And I want to make sure that everybody out there gets it. The minute they tagged Barkley, 10.1 was automatically counted against their cap anyway. So the fact that they've signed him to this deal now, okay, understand, they took the 10.1 million off because that was the tag, and now they put the new contract on. So today's impact is actually very minimal.
Zero.
Because they had already had to count for the tag.
Yeah.
Okay? Just as long as everybody understands that.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So my question involves not the preseason. I understand how preseason pup works, but it's a very simple question. I just don't know the answer. Is there a limit to how many guys you could put on pup at the beginning of the regular season? Because there's no limit. So teams I could see somebody like, let's say, Bill Belichick, finagling that to kind of stash some people.
Yeah, but you get charged for those guys. Their salaries still
they
count.
You're paying for them.
They count. Yeah, they count to the cap.
They count.
Okay.
So I mean,
All right,
how many you
limit.
want to stash when you're paying out of pocket on the cap?
Yeah, I get you. All right. Well, hey, thanks for the answers, and I'm looking forward to calling again. I have some fun things in mind.
Okay.
All right, thank you. 201-939-4513. We are here until 2:30 Eastern Time. Please give us a call. Donnie from Queens, you are next up on the show. Hello.
Hey, guys. Good afternoon.
Hi.
What's going
Happy
on?
day for Giant fans. Hey, happy day for Giant fans. Not only because Saquon is, officially back and in camp, but it's just further proof that every Charlie in Maine call is a waste of time. He spent about 10 minutes yesterday talking about how Barkley was going to get traded and wasn't going to be on the team, wasting our time. I do want to say one thing to Giant fans. As excited we are about Saquon being back and Jones getting his contract, Darren Waller, and the new weapons, that 5 up front, that's what this is all about. Neal, Schmitz, Golinsky, Izudu, Bredesen, those guys next to Andrew Thomas, they will determine how far this team goes. I am glad camp is back. I'm excited. You can probably hear it in my voice. Go Giants.
Appreciate the call. Howard, the offensive line, I think, in all honesty, I know there's a lot of optimism that they will be better. Certainly, from our perspective now, as they begin training camp, the potential, and I know that's a dangerous word.
Never say potential.
Right? It's a dangerous word. Is not only will they have a better starting 5, but I think their depth chart looks significantly better than it has in recent years.
Yeah, the depth chart is going to be better. There are going to be more guys that could step in and start in multiple positions. Some of them, that's good. As far as potential, I don't do potential. I think I know who's going to be better this year. I think Big Neil's going to be better. First off, he'll be healthy. He'll be 2 years in from making the adjustment from left tackle to right tackle, so he'll be better suited for it. And they're working with him constantly on getting down lower. So, and he's
Before
smaller.
we go anywhere, you watched Evan Neal probably every snap when he was at Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
Give the fans a concrete reason why, when you saw him play and you watched him play, remember he had a flop sides when he was at Bama, why he will be better. Not just, he'll be better because it's the second year. Give them a reason, something that you really liked about him as a player.
The ideal was when you're watching a player and stuff, when they move from left side to right side, the kick to the left side is a very pronounced kick. You're getting back. You're usually the guy that's one-on-one the entire time. When on your right side, it's also the same thing, but you're usually the guy who's known more for the blocking. You're known to go forward. So, but you still have to be able to jump back on that side. And it's really hard to do, like go from one season, because they play almost all the way to the college championship every year. After that game, you're in workouts, trying to get yourself in shape, quote unquote, to run your 40s and everything. And then next thing you know, you're in camp and you're in practice. You're not at Alabama's practice.
Mm-hmm.
There's no full speed contact.
Mm-hmm.
There's nobody coming off the edge, you're terrified of, because you can't do anything about it. If you hit the edge rusher, they'll pull you out of practice. If the edge rusher hits the quarterback, they'll pull you out of practice. It's very hard to get your skill set together that year. So now you get a full year under your belt, learning to kick. Like I said, he got injured. He'll be better from that aspect. That's going to be a big thing for him. Mm-hmm. The comfort, the quickness, everything that he's had at left tackle for all those years, he'll be able to translate it into the right tackle.
Okay. Go on about the rest of the line.
I think, Thomas, of course, is going to be, he was All-Pro last year. I think he'll be All-Pro again. I think he'd probably be first-team All-Pro. He might wind up being the best tackle in the league. I think the center that we got, Schmitz, gritty player, tough player, but more than that, a very smart player. And you need a smart guy when you're playing in the center position. That gritty and tough is great, but if he's smart, can pick up things and can lead the offensive line, that's great. My question is, who's going to play guard? I know that we got Zudu. We got a few guys we mentioned. We mentioned guys like Brennison. We mentioned guys constantly. Once they get those two positions set, that's why I'm like, okay, it's going to be a good thing. Also, you have to remember that with actual guys, no offense to the guys of the past, weapons on the outside, you can't have extra rushers and twists and stuff, because you twist out of position, they throw the ball, it's a touchdown. So those kind of things make it harder for defenses. They got to get there faster if they can. If they don't get there, they get burned. So this is going to be a great season for them to prove themselves, so to speak, and to congeal as one unit. If they can stay healthy, which I'm a big component of health.
Mm-hmm.
If they can stay healthy, they will be a better unit by a long shot.
All right, folks, right from Howard Cross's mouth. 201-939-4513. Looks like Wilson in Roxbury is on BBKL next. Hello, thanks for calling.
Hey, Paulie. Hey, Howard. Hey, listen, before I start, now that set does you guys justice. Things are improved.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a big square. Now that's the way to go. That's the way to go.
We're glad you like it.
Yeah. Hey, Paulie.
Yes, sir.
Listen, I called it. I called you last week, and I called it. Somebody got to Saquon's ear and told him, Saquon, if you're not here, man, we don't need you, because there's no other reason. Why did he sign today? Why did he sign today, Howard? What was?
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. All right.
Okay.
Both sides came to an agreement and got him a little more money. That's why he signed. There was no. There was no. We didn't need you. There was no.
No. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it. No.
What they did.
I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it that we don't need you.
Both sides came to an agreement, and he got a little more money, and they incentivized him not just to show up, but to make a lot more plays, because the more plays he makes, the more money he makes. That's why he's here.
No. But listen, I didn't mean that they don't. Of course, we need him. Of course, the Giants need Saquon. all I said to Paulie last week was this. I had a strong feeling that if he didn't sign, he wasn't in camp the first day of camp, it was going to be very difficult for him to be part of the team. That's what I said, and I feel strong.
Not even that. The whole team was behind him. You're hearing guys speak out in the media and stuff and everything. He's their guy.
And Wilson, don't kid yourself. The second he walks onto the property, Brian Dable's using him in the game plan. Okay?
Exactly.
No, I know.
Okay.
Paulie, I know that, Paulie. I'm just saying. So you don't think there was nothing saying, listen, Saquon, we need you here, man. We can't have this distraction. You don't think there was a little bit of that?
No, I think that they were constantly in negotiations the entire time, and it just worked out that way.
All right.
Thanks,
Howard,
Wilson.
I want to ask you one last question.
Yeah, go ahead, real fast.
Yeah. Listen, now that it's all over and everything's in, Howard, are the Giants a playoff team this year? Yes or no?
I don't know, and I'll be honest with you, and this is why I don't know. I think playing the AFC East is going to be a tough road. I think that's 4 tough games. I don't know who's playing quarterback out at San Francisco, but if that little midget Purdy shows back up, they're going to be a tough team. You got Seattle, who's a playoff team. We got to play against them. There's not a lot of like layups. You got the Eagles twice, and they're the class of the NFC. The Cowboys, we don't know which Dak Prescott's going to show up. We may have turnover Dak, or we may have the Dak that wants to try to compete for the MVP. So you got some tough games on the schedule, and it's not a given. It's like in the past you would say, we may have these guys. This year, until you see how the guys start to play, how the season starts to shake out. And I'm not talking about the Giants. I'm talking about other teams. You might get a team like a historically great Green Bay that doesn't have a win up until 7 games into the season or something. You just don't know. So again, we catch San Francisco early. We don't know who the quarterback's going to be. That could be a moment for the Giants. That game right there is a big moment for the Giants. If they can squeak by that team and wind up getting, you get the Cardinals out there. You don't know who the quarterback really is going to be out there. You don't think they're going to let that little guy out of the box and let him at you, or is there going to be somebody else? So you get a couple teams that are in quarterback quandaries. They're trying to figure their way around. You get Vegas, which I think you don't know.
Wilson, thanks for the call, by the way.
You know which Vegas team you're going to get. So they could definitely be a playoff team, or they could definitely be right around the same the win total they had last year.
Howard, all things being equal, I think the Giants will be in the playoff conversation in December. They'll be in the mix in December. Now, whether or not they make it,
that's because of the way the schedule's loaded to have all the big games in the end of the year. Yes,
the schedule is going to be very, very interesting with Philadelphia 2 of the last 3 games.
Yeah.
Which is going to make the division jockeying very, very interesting at the very end of the season.
And I'd imagine playing the Saints, which are historically winning that division, and they're going to be battling against Carolina, trying to figure out how they're going to win the South. So that's going to be big. I think Green Bay might be better than they usually are, better than they were last year. I don't know how good they're going to be because I don't want to besmirch Aaron Rodgers, but I think they'll be. Could he'd be in a dark room if I say something mean about him. I just think that they'll be a little bit better. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting schedule. I don't predict wins and losses because I don't think it's fair to the team.
Right.
But it's a tough schedule. I like it.
Yep. 201-939-4513. Let's go back to the phones. Looks like Hugo in New Jersey is next up on line 2. Hello, welcome to BBKL.
Hey, good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon.
Hey, I just want to chime in on the discussion of the apparent overabundance we have of slot-type receivers. A conversation I had with John yesterday had me thinking that, maybe what the Giants really intend to do is have sort of a committee of people and use specific skill sets depending on the situation.
Hugo, that's been made pretty clear for months now. Honestly,
okay.
If you watched what happened during the spring, I'm sorry. I know you guys weren't here for practice. It's obvious.
I can't watch.
I know. I'm sorry. I apologize. But it's been clear since spring drills and minicamp that they want as many quality players as they can get on the roster, and they will almost use their receivers as matchups, as you would on defense. When you're matching up slot guys and corners and safeties on tight ends and that kind of stuff. It looks to me like they're going to do a lot of matching up with the receivers and the tight ends. You'll see Waller in the slot. You'll see Waller at the boundary. It depends on who they're playing and what their personnel is on defense as to how the Giants will attack them. They want their receivers, all of them, Howard. They've made it clear. They want all their receivers to be able to play all three positions, every one of them.
Yeah, but that's everybody thinks that's crazy or something, but that's what they always do. Here's what
the best offenses do.
Here's what's happening, and this is just something that I've noticed with the way they did it. And you just asked a question about all slot receivers. When Brady won all his Super Bowls, did he have a big-time giant target as a receiver besides his tight end?
Nope.
All of them were little quick guys, right?
Yeah.
Well, he had Moss for a little while there.
Did he win a Super Bowl? Did he win a Super Bowl?
No.
Okay,
we know he didn't win.
We don't use him.
But he did have him for a while.
But so the ideal is that you want to have guys that are going to be able to run wide open.
Yeah.
And, and that's what the Giants have been lacking at the last couple of years. They've had one guy that'll be shaking, he'll get open. But if you have a whole team full of guys that are going to get open, it's a problem for defenses.
Well, getting open and running good option routes out of the slot is sort of a given if you're going to be on the roster as a receiver. But one thing that may be a little bit unusual is that I think that this coaching staff might be looking for some quote-unquote gadget play capability out of that slot position. And the reason I say that is because we drafted Wan'Dale Robinson, who was a former running back, and was a bit of a surprise pick. And I do remember Joe Shane, when he made the call after the pick, said something to the effect of, remember what we talked about, remember how we want to use you. Paris Campbell has sort of that running back build as well. And Jamison Crowder, the thing I remember about Jamison Crowder when he was in Washington was that he would kill us on slip screens and little, design plays. So that,
by the way, you're forgetting Cole Beasley, who destroyed the Giants when he was in Dallas for 7 years.
Yeah. So you contrast that to, like, say, Sterling Shepard, who's like a very precise runner, a hell of a blocker, which I like, right? Because that could fool a defense. They bring him in for certain situations. They say, here comes the run. And then maybe on a play he blocks down, but then on another play he...
Oh, we lost him. Hugo, here's what I'll say. I think the Giants have a much more aggressive and widespread playbook than they showed last year for various reasons, whether it was the offensive line's pass protection or in the second half of the season when Barkley was nicked up, or maybe it was just because it was Daniel Jones' first year in the system. I don't think we saw everything that Dable and Kafka want to throw at opposing teams last season. We will see more of that now, Howard. It's only natural.
I would love to say yes to everything you guys are saying. I understand how everybody's watching the game and understand. You have to understand that the way games are played and coached, you coach what you have. And they did a great job of coaching what they had the entire time.
The receiving core was a revolving door, Howard.
Exactly. You didn't have a couple guys. When you find guys that got open, that's where Hodgins kind of like pops into the picture. He started getting open. He started getting the ball. So when you have that, it's like the guys we talked about a lot of, like, oh, he's a great 50-50 catcher. I'm like, and I tell people all the time, 50-50 means that guy's not open. They want guys running wide open. I try to explain it to people. I know it sounds like something that's really simple and stuff. It's not simple. It's not whip routes and all this stuff. It's being able to run precise routes, turn on guys, and put guys in an awkward situation because there's two guys in his zone sometimes. That's what you're trying to create when you have little guys. You're trying to create, like, oh, no. Where, when, how are we going to get in front of them, how are we going to stop them? Because if one guy stops and you slow down and the other guy's still running, what do? And you got a two to your side. Mm-hmm. Which guy are you taking? You're like, the safety's coming up to make sure the guy doesn't run the in route. The other guy's whipping to the outside, then he goes deep. It's like, oh, you put people in a bind that way. And I think that's what they're probably looking for. The way it helps is because now people will be spread out because you're going to be afraid because you can't cover everybody. In the past, you had to cover Slayton. Maybe Hodges had started. That was it. You could come down with your safeties. You could. We're not really. The tight end's a great player we have here. He was going to be get better every year. He's still going to get better. But now you got a guy outside of Waller that's going to be another like receiver threat. But now he's 6'5", 6'6". That's crazy. So it creates – teams are looking at the Giants like, okay, we just got to get to the quarterback. That's what we have to do. We had to get the quarterback. You start rushing to the quarterback and you flip the ball out to Barkley. Now we got to try to figure out how to get to Barkley. So it's like that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, they're going to be in a position to create a lot more problems for defensive coordinators.
That's what we're hoping for.
That's what it's all about. Okay? Back to the phones at 201-939-4513. Dave in Cranford, you're next on the show.
Cranford.
Yo, my friends, man.
How we doing?
Hey, it's a great day. We're doing great, guys. Thank you. I do, Paul, love the set, so just to add that to the thing.
Well, thank you so much.
But I do think, it's a great day. Look, I think for Barkley, I'm happy for him. I also am grateful to him, man. Like, I think that, his true colors come out. He's a football guy. He's a team player. The fact that, he was able to agree and the Giants were able to make it work on both sides, I think it's huge. I think it really puts a shot into the team, just given his position on the team. Walking in, I think it's a huge benefit for Daboll and Shane's opening press conference tomorrow. I think it's going to be a lot easier with him in the fold. But all that being said, I also think the Giants, as an organization, and Shane in particular, I think they came out great here. They got the key players under contract. I think Barkley also recognized that this offense is going to be great for him because it's all about, for the most part, manipulating safeties. And the Giants, with their speed, with Waller, and with Barkley, are going to be able to manipulate the middle of the field and the safeties and really play cat and mouse with them, to a significant degree. And I think that's going to really benefit Barkley. I think he's going to be running against a lot more, better boxes in terms of, the amount of defenders he's going to see, because the safeties are going to be concerned about the speed going over the top. They're going to be concerned about Waller. And vice versa. They're going to be concerned about Barkley, which is going to open it up for Waller. So I think the cat and mouse is going to be great. My last comment is what Howard has already referred to, but I really think that the offensive line is going to benefit the most on the offense from the continuity of the scheme and their coaching in year two. I think the skill position players are probably going to be learning a lot more new plays, that sort of thing. But I think the offensive line is going to have a lot of continuity in terms of how they're asked to block, what their blocking assignments are. And that second year, I expect the whole line to make a jump, just because they're in year two, the majority of them, minus the center. So I really think that's going to have a big impact. And my last comment is just that love to hear from Charlie today. It's a positive day. I'm not sure I don't know that he knows how to call in. He's got his aluminum
hat on right now. We're waiting for you.
I don't know that he knows how to make a positive comment. It would be nice to hear him.
Thank you so much,
positive.
Dave. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
201-939-4513. Let's just take a breath for 1 second here before we go to the next call. And again, rapid fire calls today because I want to hear from you guys. Howard, as a player, you come to training camp, even though it's not the same as it was when you played. I think there is certainly a benefit to Barkley, even if he had been working out on his own and had decided to come in after the preseason was over and signed the tag. Well, you know what? If he had come in for a couple of practices and played against Dallas, you could have said, well, he was here for opening day, fine. But even with a watered-down training camp that we have in 2023, there's still a benefit to him being here for the next several weeks, is there not?
Oh yeah, they're going to have some padded practices. They're going to have some contact practices. Those contact practices are the practices that allow you to adjust your body, getting hit, being able to move, being able to find your leverage when you're running at full speed. Someone bumps into you. Those things are the things that make guys. I keep telling. That's the sparring of the game. And you need to spar to get ready for actual contact. The preseason game is a higher level of sparring. And then finally the season is starting and there's no sparring, there's fighting. And the fighting gets worse the closer you get to the playoffs. And if you get to the playoffs, it's like, you're taking the gloves off, and by the time you get to the Super Bowl, it's all-out war just about. So you're fighting constantly trying to get your body into the shape that you want to get in. And there's two types of shape. There's I look good in a workout video shape, and then there's I am ready to hit somebody's shape. And it's two different things.
And so I think Barkley himself understands what you just said. So let's face it, if he's going to have the kind of Pro Bowl season that he wants to have again, it behooves him to prepare as best as possible, right?
Yeah, and usually if preseason goes through, if he doesn't get a lot of reps and stuff in preseason, it takes a couple games to get yourself kind of acclimated to the contact. And that's the thing that no one thinks about.
Yeah, exactly. So just another part of this salad bar mixture that went into the meal as to why the Giants and Saquon Barkley came to terms this morning and were able to sign a one-year contract. Again, if you're joining us late, the Giants and Barkley have avoided the one-year tag by signing a new one-year contract that they were allowed to do under the CBA and the rules of the National Football League. And there's some bonus money and some incentive money in there. And the Giants will still be allowed to use their second Barkley tag at the end of the season. 201-939-4513 is our phone number. We will go to Gino in South Plainfield next. And you're on Big Blue Kickoff Live. Hello.
Hey guys, how you doing today?
Well, how are you?
How are you doing?
Not too bad. One, I want to say thank you to Mr. Cross there, because one of the best photos I have in my life is with him and Pepper Johnson back in 1990.
Nice.
So I love that photo. So, but that being said, I think Daniel Jones is going to be really good this year. I think a lot of people are sleeping on him. He is the only quarterback in NFL playoff history to throw for 300-plus yards, 2+ touchdowns, and run for over 70 yards in the same game.
Very good.
And I think the sky's the limit with him. I don't like the fact that so many people are down on him. I think he's going to be great. I think Hodgins is going to be awesome. And now that we got Quan back, things are looking good, and I believe in this team. And I'd love to hear what you guys think is going to be the X factor this year. And I'll take the comments off the air. Thanks,
Gino,
guys.
thank you for calling.
X factor this year. I think the X factor this year will be getting our pass rushers on the edge to get a few more sacks. I think that will free up the entire defense. Thibodeau gets out there, and whoever's opposite Thibodeau at any moment in time, if he picks up where he left off late in the season after he got healthy again, it could be a very interesting thing for Wink's defense. I think that's going to be the X factor. Getting the ball back in the hands of the of Barkley and Jones and that crew over and over again. I think that's going to be the X factor. I think we've all been talking about the offense. We love Saquon Barkley. Some of us love Jones. Some people outside don't love him so much. We love all the talent that we put on the offense. But I think that defense, signing the safety, drafting the cornerback, signing the middle linebacker. I think that is going to make the biggest difference in the Giants.
See, I think we already take for granted that the offensive line has to play better because that's where it always starts. So I'll put that aside. That can't be an X factor because that's a given. You must get good play in the trenches. But I'll also go to the rush defense, which we know they wanted to get better at. They signed Okereke to do that as the middle linebacker, who, by the way, has a lot of versatility. This is a guy who's going to be shooting a lot of different gaps, even coming off the edge sometimes. They love his ability to play multiple roles in this defense. And then they added some defensive tackles, Howard, so that they could rotate the guys up front and get more efficiency. Because if you don't have to play Dexter Lawrence and Leonard Williams 95% of the snaps, the hope is that they'll have more energy and play even better.
And Leonard is going to be an X factor. Playing for a new contract, playing to make some more money. He's trying to make sure he puts his name, put a stamp on it. If he's here or wherever he is, he knows he can. If he gets up to double-digit sacks, and TFLs, tackles for losses, he's going to make a lot of money. That guy's going to be playing inspired football. X factor right there.
Let's go to line 2. Scott in New Mexico. You're next on BBKL. Hello.
Hi. How are you doing today, guys?
Good to talk to you.
I'm going to echo the sentiments of everybody. I'm happy that Saquon and the Giants got together and did the right thing. But I had a question, Paul, because I'm a little unsure. On the contract that was signed, before I get to my main question, is there a limitation to that? In other words, could Saquon make, say, $14 million or $13 million on the way the deal was structured?
The bonuses and the incentives, I don't have every detail of this deal. That has not been made public by the organization. But if you understand the reports about the triggers that give him X number of dollars, incentive triggers, and the bonus money, it's not an infinite thing where, like, if he rushes for 2,500 yards, he makes a whole lot more. I don't believe that's involved in this situation at all.
Okay, so there will be a limitation to what he can make.
In other words, there are triggers. Yeah, I think there are triggers that will get him the maximum amount of funds, but they don't go to infinity.
And the maximum, and what's the maximum amount in theory? 11.
What's been reported is 11.
Okay, there you go.
Well, they said that there was also a $2 million baseline, or $2 million added to his baseline, but I didn't understand what they were talking about.
Again, according to the reports out there, there is a bonus included as part of the deal so that he gets that money up front.
Okay.
As opposed to getting it week to week.
Got it. Okay. My main question has to deal with the signing of Cole Beasley. I think it was a brilliant move. And I know you've been talking about the slot receivers, how many there are and how many can play. But if you look at Colt's history with Dallas and Buffalo, he was the guy that usually got open. He runs great routes.
He does.
And I think, why would they sign a guy who's 34 if they didn't intend to use him quite a bit, would be my question to you. And because of Waller and potentially the other wide receivers, Beasley becomes a really huge target for the Giants. And I think that's going to help their offense immensely, to have somebody like that can get open as easily as he seems to be able to do. And that's, I think, what the Giants were looking for and why Brian Daboll signed him, because he knows that he can do that, so that will help the offense immensely.
He had him for 3 years in Buffalo, and Beasley's best 3 years were while Daboll was his offensive coordinator with the Bills.
Right. So I think that's a brilliant move on the part. My last point, everybody's been talking about Philadelphia. They've been talking about Cincinnati, as San Francisco, all the teams they think are going to make it to the Super Bowl. But there's a sleeper team that nobody really talks about a lot that I think this year, because of the signings they made, and I want to get your perspective, even though it has nothing to do with the Giants. It's a team that has a lot of quality players, and that's the Baltimore Ravens. If Lamar Jackson stays healthy, especially with Trey Flowers and now having Odell, and then, of course, J.K. Dobbins as a running back, that offense, to me, seems like who's going to stop them? And I was just curious your reaction to them. And that's the only point I have to make, because that's a team that nobody really talks about a lot.
Okay, Scott.
Super Bowl contenders.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it. We'll talk to you again soon. By the way, the Giants don't have to play Baltimore this year.
Thank goodness.
Just so you know.
Yeah, thank goodness. I think offensively, they're light years ahead of where they used to be. I think it's been the Lamar Jackson show by himself. He's just been out there running around, handing the ball off to the running back, trying to find his tight end and praying that the receiver was still on the team. Now he's got 2 or 3 receivers, and I think he's going to have a good year offensively. I don't think that's their problem. I think their problem's been the defense lately. I think Baltimore's defense has taken a huge step back, and he might score 40 points a game, but if someone else is going to score 41, it could be a problem. But I think they have the offense this year to compete with Kansas City.
We have a little bit more than 10 minutes left in the program. We go back to the phones. Line 1 has Doug from Glens Falls standing by. You're next on the program. Hello. Hello, Doug.
Hello, Paul.
Yes, sir.
I talking to your other guy that monitors the phone calls.
That would be Pearson. You can identify Pearson. He's a good man. We love him here. Yes, go ahead.
A video, and Carl Banks directly was talking to Barkley about it, and he was talking to him like a brother. I don't know if you guys saw that video or not, or talking to Bob Papa, man, you knew about it. But I think that was a big reason why he came in. One of the big reasons he came in because Carl kept emphasizing how he's a professional, and it won't hurt the team at all, him sitting at home. It'll only hurt him. And he says, go ahead and play angry, but come in and play. Come into camp and play. And I think that was a big motivator for him to come in.
I think that he was coming in.
Thanks for the call, Doug. Go ahead.
Thank you. I think he was coming in the whole time. I think that a lot of people do a lot of what's the word I'm looking for?
Jockeying,
filibustering, trying to make
that
it,
too.
to create a scenario where maybe he's not going to come. I heard all the running backs are going to get together as a committee and they're going to like try to stage a. I'm like, stage a coup? You'll all be no one to be making money. Like this is a very, very simple business. You are available to make money, and if you show up and play well, they pay you. That's it. And then once you get offered something and you don't take it, and they go to the quote unquote franchise tag, you kind of know where you are. You know what the deal is. You can say you're mad. You can say you're upset. It's business. The Giants did one better. They gave him more money than the franchise, took the franchise out. He's happy. They're happy. They didn't break the bank. He didn't kill. He didn't have to try to quote unquote set out, because setting out does nothing for him. Mm-hmm. Every running back that set out and held out and I'm gonna go to another team, they disappear. They just do.
It is what it is.
Your body, you need to be active with your body, especially at running back. If you set out a year, it is hard just to come back.
201-939-4513. We have some more lines open, but right now we go to line 3. Len is in Maryland. You're next on BBKL. Hello.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Very well, Len.
Well, yeah, I'm sure. Just like me, Paulie. It's echo what everybody says. It's a great day to be a Giants fan. And
it always is, Len. Remember that. It always is.
Yeah, true. Last month, week ago Monday, we got to 4 o'clock and Saquon wasn't signed, and to a long term. And I just thought that was on that day. I just thought that was a loss for both sides. That was a loss. And somehow both sides got this together, and it must have been very difficult because the emotion involved. It seemed to me like you almost have to step away from it for 3 or 4 weeks before you could really get back into it and get rid of the venom that you might have in your system over what had happened on that Monday. So I give credit to both sides because today's a win-win. And I really have to believe that voices got to both parties. And that's the kind of thing that allowed it to happen. Let me speak for a second about the quality of this team as I see it at this point.
Mm-hmm.
The window's open, guys. The window's open. And we've got the players on this roster right now to climb through that window. This is a darn good roster.
It is.
I think this roster is 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll be shocked if this team doesn't make the playoffs. It's that good. They've done a good job in assembling it. Credit to Shane. If I'll take my top 30 guys and match them up against 25 teams in this league, and we come out on top in that. Our top 30 guys, and I think you win with 30. You want to throw the punter and the kicker in, we win. We win with 32. But I think if we can keep those guys on the field, and the quality of injuries, we're going to get injuries, and the quality of injuries. We keep our best players on the field, the people who were the first-round draft choices. We've got like 7, 8, 9. I know Adoree was with a different team and Leonard Williams was with a different team, but they're first-round draft choices. We've got 7, 8, 9 first-round picks.
Mm-hmm.
And they're right there at at the height of their career. They're ready to emerge. They're in that 4 to 8 year playing, and let's go Giants. Hey, thanks for taking my call again. Paulie, always a great day to be a Giant. We'll talk soon.
Thanks. Call
guys.
again. 201-939-4513. We've got a couple of open lines. We'll be glad to get you in during the final 10 minutes of the show. Howard,
my man was fired up.
He was really ready to go. Could we possibly open the season tomorrow? Because Len wants to play.
No, don't let Len play.
No?
Len might hurt somebody. His rules against what Len want to do right now. He fired up.
Sounds like to me he wants to be a gunner on the punt team.
Hey, man, we got to get Len. Hey, man, decaf, Len. Decaf. Drink it. It's good for you now.
201-939-4513. I'm at Giants WFAN. He is at Howard Cross 87. To review quickly about this week, The Giants players came in today. They had their conditioning drills. They ran their gassers. They checked in. They weighed in, Howard.
They ran gassers? That's the conditioning drill?
They did what they had to do.
Okay.
You remember those?
Gassers were easy. I like those.
Okay.
How many did you have to run?
I wasn't out there as part of it, so I don't know.
I can't believe you just said that. That's terrible.
Well, the announcers don't have to run them, thank God.
Paulie,
I'm a power walker, not a runner.
Paulie, I've been on the sideline with you. You could run them.
Thanks for the confidence, Howard.
Like,
I appreciate
smokes. Here comes Paul. Here comes Paul.
Okay, let's just to recap for a second. Tomorrow, training camp has its first official practice.
Good.
And Howard, just to make sure that folks understand, the first few days of practice, they're wearing helmets with T-shirts and shorts. Then they'll graduate to shells. Then they'll finally get to pads at some point early next week. These first few days, if you could kindly explain to the folks, because there'll be some people coming out. They got their free tickets through the Giants website. They're coming out here. They want to see. The stands are all set, ready to go for you guys. What are they going to see these first couple of days?
You're going to see the guys starting to get the introduction to the playbook all over again. They've been getting introduced to the playbook all off season through the OTAs and the mini camps. They've been learning a lot of stuff. The offensive line, the defensive line, all learning their stuff. It is going to be imperative that when they start this camp, that Coach Daboll doesn't blow a gasket right off the bat, because he wants to see guys who have quote unquote put in that mental work so that they can actually see some of the physical work show up on the field. So if you hear a lot of yelling and screaming, then that means somebody hadn't been studying, and they're going to be calling them out. If you hear a lot of good job and that boys and way to compete, that's what you want to hear. Way to compete on every other play. Too many way to compete means that somebody's going to get bumped and bruised, but that's what you're trying to get done the first few days of camp. You're trying to expose the guys to the playbook. You're going to go from the base of the playbook, what we call the base setup for all the plays, offensively and defensively. This is our base defense. This is our base offense. And this is why we run what we run from these plays. And they just start branching out like trees, or vines, as some people say. And you have to learn it all pretty quickly, because it doesn't go in. The playbooks, well, I don't know, now they're on computer, but the playbooks back in the day were like,
They got tablets now, right?
Huge. Yeah, now you could have like 1 million playbooks in one tablet. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see.
10 a.m. tomorrow is the first practice. So, folks, we advise you to get here and enjoy yourselves. Make sure you hydrate, as Coach Coughlin used to say, right? It's going to be like 100 degrees.
Hey,
hydrate.
Everybody drink with lots of water, Gatorade.
Yep.
I am telling you, put a lot of sunscreen on. It is hot.
10 o'clock tomorrow, then 10 o'clock the following day. Then the third practice is going to be at 5 p.m. That's going to be later on, early in the evening, right before dinner time.
That's 28th, right?
Yep, so maybe it'll be a little bit less hot on that practice. I don't know, Howard. What are you seeing there on the AccuWeather?
I'm just looking at what I'm going to be doing that day, so I'm just making sure, because I'm telling you right now, it is not going to be cooler.
All right, so, and then remember, for the kids, for the youngsters out there, the Giants are going to try to have each one of the days, they're going to try to have one of the units from the team sign some autographs for the children after practice. And for you adults, especially you older folks who love some of the Giants alums from years past, on each of the days, go to the Giants website. You'll be able to take a look, and there'll be at least 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 alums here every single day to sign autographs for the adults. They can be part of that too. Kids can also get them. Right, you'll sign for kids too, Howard.
I'll sign for everybody.
But you'll sign for the adults too.
Absolutely.
And they'll be out there, and that'll be outside behind the bleacher area. So absolutely check on the Giants website, see who's going to be there that day, and pick out your favorite Giant to come to. Pearson, the battery went on my laptop, so I'm just simply going to tell you to go to the next caller, and he's next on BBKL, or maybe it's a lady. I don't know.
Phil in North Carolina.
Phil.
Hey, Phil.
You're next on the program. Thanks for calling.
Well, thank you, guys. Great show as always. Howard, thanks for all you've done.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Hey, yeah, good. Yeah, one of my favorite players. And I love those values, draft pick values, 6th round. So, excellent. I guess my main point today, I got 2 points. But my main point is that really impressed with the GM job. You know, the organization. We keep on bringing in different head coaches or assistant coaches. We just got Mike Adams, I read this week, and I remember him as a player. And it's just we're never resting. We're constantly trying to improve. And I feel as a fan, after being frustrated for 10 plus years, I feel with the moves and stuff, I just feel like we have really intelligent, smart football people in place that are open-minded and constantly evolving to try to improve the team. So, great stuff. Great stuff. My second point is, just curious. I'm so happy Saquon's back. We need everything full blazes going. The one thing I would like is, you may not be able to answer, but I would like to kind of understand is, I think he's approaching $50 million in terms of combined salary over his first 5 years. I'm wondering, where does that rank in terms of football? Football running back dollars. Is he a top 20 paid running back of all time? Is he a top or is it top 10, or is he out of there because the prices are starting to go down on the running back? So I'll take it off air, and thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Without knowing, I would say this year alone, because he's with the $11 million salary, it'll put him in the top 3, I think.
Should he max it out?
Yeah, if he maxed out 3, maybe even number 2.
But that's about as much as I think we'll go.
But
we don't pay attention to the other stuff.
Yeah, the whole thing about how much the guys make over the history of their career, it's irrelevant, because every year the what is it called? The salary cap goes up. There's a bigger split out there, so guys are tending to make more money from the years when I played to 10 years, 5 years later, 10 years later, 20 years later. There are guys who are getting signing bonuses that are fifth round picks that are worth more than my entire career. So
right.
it's relevant to the time. So you could play for 5 years and be the highest paid player in history. It's not basketball or baseball where the number, or the live tournament where they didn't take that money. It's a real live thing. I'd be really hot, boy, if I didn't take that money. Now we're together. Anyway.
By the way, do you happen to know what day you're signing as an alum?
No.
At the practices?
Were you going to tell me?
No, I was actually just asking if you had it on your phone.
I probably do, but I don't know where it is.
Because all these fans out here, they love you. They want to come up and take pictures. They want to take pictures with you. They want to get autographs.
I was going upstairs right after this to figure it out. So
okay.
That's a way to call me out. I hope I do read the emails. Just so you know, upstairs. I'll be right there.
And you will be signing one of the days.
I will be signing one of the days. One of the afternoons. Probably it's going to be a Friday or Saturday, I'm assuming, because I try to go to work sometimes.
Some of the other guys I know on the list, Nix, Manningham, Fiegels, Richie Seubert.
Richie.
Whole bunch of guys are going to be coming out here.
Yeah, a lot of us to stay in the area, and some guys come in for it, which is really cool.
Paul, I've got some of the Barkley numbers if you want.
Ahmad Bradshaw, too.
Oh, Bradshaw.
So active players, Barkley is the 4th earnings total, but that's with less years, obviously, than Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, and David Johnson.
Okay.
All time, he's 28th. But that's after people's careers. Like Adrian Peterson made $107 million total, so that's where he lands on those.
I honestly, and I appreciate the info, Pearson, I'm more concerned with how many Super Bowls he wins and what his final yardage totals are, because ultimately that's going to determine his legacy more so than whatever dollar amount he wound up making. But that's just me.
All right. I don't know either way.
And he, by the way, Barkley is a guy who has many times told us about his appreciation for history and for legacy. And if Barkley can continue to have a Pro Bowl style career for the next handful of years, he will have established quite a nice foothold for himself in terms of how he'll be remembered with the Giants, much like Tiki Barber has. And unfortunately for Tiki, he doesn't get enough Hall of Fame support. But we now have
August 15th.
We have a date for Howard Cross, folks. August 15th, Howard Cross will be at that
I knew
practice.
I could find it eventually.
There you go. See, I knew you put it in your phone.
I'm not that crazy. I know I could do this.
So make sure you got your pictures ready and your autograph requests ready. Howard Cross will be out there August 15th.
Yep. Sign and then come in here really sweaty because it's probably going to be hot that day and doing the show with you.
It may happen. We will see. Hopefully it'll be cloudy that day and Howard will not get overheated.
I want it to be hot. I like it hot.
He is at Howard Cross 87. I am at Giants WFAN. Remember, thanks for listening to today's episode of Big Blue Kickoff Live. It's part of the Giants platforms everywhere and giants.com/podcasts. For Howard Cross and Pearson Butler, our producer, I'm Paul Dottino. We'll talk to you again right here on Big Blue Kickoff Live. So long, everybody.